y'all one guess what I'm going to talk about today. I'm very excited to talk about hospitality. You may remember that I worked as hospitality manager at Avery Brewing Company before coming to ministry. And it was, in fact, my theology of hospitality that gave me so much joy in that role. But here's the thing. Hospitality is not about a role. Host, greeter, server. It's about our personal response to God's love, to connect with others, to love what God loves. We start with God's love for ourselves. By affirming our own worth, we affirm the infinite worth of the person before us. Hospitality helps others discover their true selves. A moment when Christ's light in them is reflected in your eyes, sometimes before they can even see it themselves. This gift enlivens our baptismal covenant to see and serve Christ in all. And Jesus teaches a bold table fellowship, a set of Christian manners of friendship and service. Ethicist Dr. Pat McCormick writes, "Those who call themselves friends and dinner companions of Christ cannot engage in disputes about places of honor, but must instead refuse to cooperate in economic, political, and ecclesiastical structures of oppression, inequality, and injustice." Folks, hospitality is not an easy answer. I've heard many people say, if only folks sat down and shared a meal together. But Jesus makes it clear there are significant implications in his table fellowship. Benedictine scholar Lonnie Pratt reminds us, pursuing a life of hospitality will eventually make you realize its social and moral implications. At Christ's table, we don't just remember Jesus in the bread. We are compelled to get up, serve, and to disrupt systems of power and advantage. Sitting at Christ's table means demolishing structures of oppression and marginalization. So hospitality involves not only us as individuals, but also our culture. Our culture here at St. Matthew's, in Parker, in America, and in the world. Jesus and Paul call us not only to practice fellowship when we eat, but to cultivate a pervasive culture of hospitality that presses against the comfort of status and division. Jesus' hospitality is not Martha Stewart's vision of small talk at a nicely decorated table. It is courageous, creative, persistent pursuit of unconditional relationship. Early Roman and Greek hospitality centered on reciprocal obligation, inviting people so that you may have an advantage through knowing them. We still see this, but this is not grounded in one's own belovedness. That's hospitality grounded in one's drive for status. Christian hospitality had to be different. St. John Chrysostom and early church teachers saw hospitality as transcending status boundaries, establishing a new context for respect and recognition, a baptismal context in which we see Christ in all and offer the same kindness to strangers as we do to family. Luke shows God's universal welcome. God welcomes all, and so we must open our hearts to those with whom we least desire connection. Because hospitality recognizes the guest, the stranger, and even the enemy. And Chrysostom warned, Christians cannot outsource hospitality to industries. We cannot rely on someone else to love our enemy for us. He said, if a man prays, does it follow you are not bound to pray? So it is with hospitality. An industry may exemplify it, but we remain morally bound to create a culture of welcome and belonging. No one else can do that for us. And so we've gotten caught up in asking, how dangerous is the stranger? But the real question is, how dangerous will I be if I don't learn to be more open? What harm might I cause? Theologian Gustavo Gutierrez wrote, in our relationship with God and with others, there is an inescapable personal dimension. To reject a fellow human is to reject God as well. The challenge Jesus lays before us continues to haunt Christians today. Our culture is filled with invitations to divide ourselves. Advertisements that whisper, drive this car, wear these clothes, travel to these places, and you'll be like these people. We're constantly told who is in, who is out. In schools, workplaces, even in our neighborhoods, there are subtle signals of who belongs and who doesn't, who is worth our time and who can be ignored. But Jesus' hospitality cuts through all of those messages, demanding an inclusive fellowship that resists status and that remains courageously open-hearted, revealing the belovedness of all. And so we ask, in our parish and in our own lives, what kind of culture do we want to create? I would say not a culture of barriers, roles, or shallow, polite gestures, but a Jesus-centric hospitality in which strangers become friends, and every moment contains the potential for loving what God loves, ourselves and the person in front of us.